Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in on a Wheeler's Weekend Jams live review right now on 311's latest album, Mosaic, which just dropped on June 23rd. It is the band's 12th studio album. Holy cow, 27 years as a band. They did premiere some of the new tracks before the album release, actually late last year at the last 311 day, and then they played also a couple on this past 311 cruise. If you are not aware of 311's shows and what they do exactly, every other year they throw a 311 day on March 11th. They've been doing that since like 1999 or 2000, I should say. And then the year that they don't do a 311 day, they do a cruise. And I've been to both. I'm a bit of a fan, just a little bit of fan. I even sleep on 311 Comfort, so you know what I'm saying. I had to do a review about this album, and for all the hardcore fans out there, of course, Mosaic, 12th studio album. It was actually half produced by Scotch Ralston, who is also 311's sound guy during their live shows, but he has worked with them since the very beginning, since their first album, Music, and has been working with them almost every single record since then. So he's produced about more than half of this album, and then they brought in John Feldmann, who is the lead singer of the band Goldfinger, to kind of bring in a new taste and style. Also, they brought in Bob Rock years ago on their albums Uplifter and Universal Pulse, which gave them another, more different sounds. So they were open-minded enough to do this again and work with John Feldmann. This album is a roller coaster. Let me tell you, whether you're a 311 fan or not, there's a lot of different sounds going on this record. It has your typical 311 reggae fusion mixed with like hip hop, as they're always good with. And then they also have like some EDM and dubstep stuff, which is, for some fans, it's going to be a new listen, but 311 never seems to surprise us with what they can do with their sounds. Never been a bad thing, but to throw in, EDM and dubstep, it's completely different for them as well. So they took a chance on that. A lot of bands could take chances on different sounds and it won't come out as good, or it doesn't hit as hard. But let me tell you, that on this album, it did very well. It's kind of like, this is the 2017 311. It's kind of like the last album that Led Zeppelin did in the early 80s. That was Led Zeppelin in the early 80s. You knew that record was from, the early 1980s. So 15 years from now, when you hear Mosaic, you're going to be like, well, that was definitely 311 in 2017, They only have one song that is very EDM-ish, Till the City's on Fire, which when I first saw that title, I thought it was going to be more of like a heavy song or something, but they kind of surprised me, and at a first listen, it was kind of hard to grasp at first, but after a couple listens already, it flows so good with the record, because you got Till the City's on Fire, and then the next track is Too Late, which they premiered on this past 311 cruise, and that is one of the heaviest tracks I think they've ever done. So, like I said, you have your typical 311 reggae. You got some really heavy elements of 311 on this record. Tim Mahoney, the guitar player, he shreds one song in particular, Face in the Wind, which I believe Tim Mahoney was a partial writer to on the album. So you knew it was it was going to be a strong Mahoney track, and he does his epic solos in that. And then they also have songs Wildfire, which is very proggy for 311. They definitely went in a progressive direction. It's a longer track. That song goes from like a really funky reggae jam to this kind of Beatles wave chorus part with Nick Hexum, and then that breaks down into this Iron Maiden epic solo. So there's a lot of different parts just on that song alone. Songs like Extension, which kind of bring back the vibe of like Grassroots, Nick Hexum pretty much raps the entire song, and then you have songs like Syntax Air, which kind of brought me back to the Sound System era. It had very epic Hexum strong vocals with really heavy guitar riffs, and like I said, this album is all over the place, so I would say if you are a hardcore fan of 311, you will not be disappointed. One word I would have to say is masterpiece. I still, to this day, 311 does not get enough credit as as their fan base even gives them. They've even been called the Beatles of rap rock. You think of like the mid-90s, late 90s bands, and they were in that new metal era, but 311 was never really like that, The new metal era had a little bit more of darker lyrics and more negative tone, I'm not going to like name the bands, but if you grew up in that area, I'm sure you could list a couple. 311 have always found the positive side with their lyrics. As much as they had heavy songs, if you actually read the lyrics, you'll be pretty shocked. And then you got 17 tracks on Mosaic, which is kind of a sequel to Transistor Part 2. Transistor came out in 1997, and they had 21 tracks on that album. And actually, that album followed the Blue Album, which was a huge change for 311. They totally jumped the gun and went in a different direction, and that's what I like about these guys, is they always keep it fresh. And after being a band for 27 years, they are still keeping it fresh. And it blows my mind that it's still the same 5 members. And who knows, they could be the next Rolling Stones, playing until they're in their 80s. I have no idea. The relentless always win. True story. But to me, Mosaic, it's kind of as if Evolver, their album Evolver, and their album Transistor had a baby. That would equal Mosaic. It's really hard comparing albums. You really can't. But I would definitely check this album out. They're on the Summer Unity Tour. Going on right now. They're playing with New Politics and this awesome UK band called The Skints. And they're also playing other shows with Bad Rabbits, Pacifier, and Full Service. So go check out 311's Unity Tour this summer, 2017. We appreciate everybody who tunes into Wheeler's Weekend Jams live and direct when they can. Please go visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/WWJ. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and check out our website at WheelersWeekendJams.com. And also coming this September, we are throwing our 2nd annual Wheelers Jam Nation concert. We got 7 great bands on the bill. It's going to be at the Elbow Room on September 9th in Chicago, Illinois, which is my birthday, so I hope to see everybody there. Thanks again for tuning in on this lovely interview. 311 Mosaic, much love.